In any content creation sphere, whether it is through YouTube or TikTok or Twitter, you're going to have your fair share of haters. And it is honestly a given to any type of content that you make in the universe. You're going to get your fair share of haters alongside with your fair share of people that support you and love your content and just continue to watch it and to support the creator. And I genuinely appreciate every single one of you who watches my type of content and also support it and glaze me. Like, I appreciate it. It makes me feel good. And I just appreciate it because it helps this channel flourish. But besides that, I want to point out this one Reddit post comment thread that I found when I was opening up Reddit to look for some content ideas, and there was this one content thread that said KAPNOYR, and I was like, okay, somebody's talking about me. I'm obviously intrigued, and I opened it, and it was essentially this post where it said, trigger warning, negative feedback, which is a hell of a headline, right? So I just read this post and I just want to read it to you guys really quick. So first it says, KAPNOYR, trigger warning, negative feedback. I just want to ask people who watch KAPNOYR a genuine question. What's the appeal of his content? I don't really get it. He talks about things that are happening in the community in current times, which in itself is fine, but he goes on to extend the video like 10 fucking minutes longer than it should be. There are so many examples of this in every one of his videos. He just goes on and shit. He made a video about Kosovo becoming number 3 5 minutes long. How is this shit possible? And fuck these stretched thumbnails, they piss me off. And I know an argument you can make is that you want to know what is happening in the community and shit, but you could find any of the information in his videos from scrolling on Twitter for like a minute or even just Forsaken subreddit. KAPNOYR, if you see this, don't take it personally. Keep doing your thing, but I just want to hear your opinion and understand the mindset of the masses. Anyways, that's it from me. Signing off. Osunator 5000. So I read this post, and honestly, when I first read it, I was kind of hurt by it, as would anyone be, like any type of human being. I believe that if they saw any type of negative feedback like this, they would get hurt by it. Despite the person in the post saying, KAPNOYR, if you're reading this, don't take it personally. I'm just wondering why people watch your content, which is kind of weird to say anyways, to make this type of content. But I appreciate the feedback regardless, but I want to address the things in this post. But first off, if you guys don't like my content, don't watch it. I don't care if you guys watch my videos or not. I'm mainly making these videos for my own personal enjoyment and to also fulfill my own purpose in life, because I want to supplement my Osu addiction with something that feels productive, because I feel like playing Osu just in itself is a waste of time. I know Irene says Osu's a waste of time and shit, right? And you're gonna have your fun here and there. But I feel like just for that reason alone is something that I don't want to compete with while I play Osu. I just don't think that playing Osu in itself is productive for my own long-term goals in terms of my own productivity and to gain more status and for my own personal development growth. I just feel like playing Osu in itself is just a waste of time for me, and I wanted to create content, whether it's me posting my own progression or to me talk about recent Osu news, so that I feel productive with playing Osu here. That is essentially one of my main goals, to make Osu content. So for the people that hate this type of content where it's just somebody yapping to the camera about some random shit and then also showing some Osu gameplay, don't fucking watch my videos then. I don't need you. I don't care, okay? Like, that's just what I want to say really quick right there for the type of people that are going to make this type of post where they're going to be like, hey, I don't really understand why people watch this type of videos. I don't really understand why people watch other type of Osu videos, like the people that watch the full ass gameplay and the people that watch the whole ass documentaries. Like, I used to watch those, but nowadays they don't relate to me. I could also be the same person that's saying, okay, I would wonder why people watch perhaps Ollie or perhaps PewDiePie. Like, I don't really understand those. Like, people are going to have their own tastes, but that's probably the answer to that. But then he also addresses a point where these videos are so fucking long, 5 to 10 minutes, and that you could also just find the information on this by just scrolling through Twitter or Reddit. And yes, you can completely just get all the information through looking through Reddit and Twitter. That's what I do. But I felt like there was a need in this market where there's really not a lot of people presenting news in this presentable matter while also being able to connect to a sort of person. Because I feel like a lot of Osu content is just people just hiding themselves behind the gameplay. They don't really show their face. There's no connection to the audience. It's just a profile picture and then the Osu gameplay, and then they're gonna comment over that. And that's what a lot of Osu people do. And if you want to do that and just hide your personal privacy, that's completely fine. I completely respect that. I just felt like there was that need where someone that talks about Osu while also showing their face. I don't really see a lot of people doing that. And the people that do that, like Spaza, BTMC, and I know the Forsaken Xylus, these people are flourishing when they talk about that. but regardless, they are top players as well, which is also a contributor to their overall growth. So I just made these videos to address that need right there, where people, yes, they could just look through Twitter or Reddit, but they could also absorb that content through another medium, which is watching my videos if they want to. So that's just me addressing that need right there. And then the other parts about my videos being 5 minutes long for Cloutifull number 3, where I made the video, Cloutifull is crazy. And I understand that people will be like, okay, what the fuck? How do you talk about 5 minutes about some guy getting number 3? That should just be like a 1 second thing, right? You just say, guys, Cloutifull reached number 3, end the video. Well, it's also because I add in my own type of commentary on it, just give my own thoughts about it, because that's part of the brand where people are generally interested in what other people think about it, OSU topics. And there's not exactly a lot of people that are going to deliver on these topics at the speed, the relative speed that I could, where I could just look at the news, create the video, a few hours later, it's out. Like, I could make it just like that, right? And there's not a lot of people doing that. So I just wanted to fulfill that market's needs right there, where I just make that type of content, right? And the 5 minutes just being extended for this video in particular, it was also because I talked about other topics in that video where I just wanted to talk about the speed meta and people just changing their ranks up in the top 10. And I just wanted to give my commentary on that. Like, it is just commentary based. There's evidence that's being presented right there, which is Cloutifull being number 3. And then I just talk about it. And that's the majority of the video right there. That is why it's 5 minutes. It's not like I'm going to just have that objective journalism where I just present the info at hand. If you want that, just go look through Twitter and Reddit. But I know there's some people that are going to want to know the commentary and what other people think about it, which is why some people also look at the comment threads for Reddit and Twitter. But it's not as if there's going to be videos where people talk about it person to person, like it's a video chat like this. So it's just all text. So I feel like that human connection was a need that had to be presented here for this type of content. But besides that, I think that was the main criticism from this thread. I don't really think it's hate. Maybe it's more of a constructive criticism, or there's perhaps people just wondering why they watch my content in the first place. And he ends the post with a Power Ranger sign off saying, I'm signing off, OSU Nature 5000 out of here, which is kind of a funny thing. But that was pretty much the main post and my addressing of the content presented, and me addressing why I even make these YouTube videos or why people would even watch it, just from my own personal perspective. And I then looked at the comments for this thread where I would obviously be quite intrigued by what other people have to say about this, because it is something that's going to concern me. And I looked through it, and it was mainly a lot of support, because it seems that there's more people that like my content than hate it, which I'm thankful for. If you guys like watching my videos, as I said previously, and you also want to glaze it or just like my content overall, I appreciate it, every single one of you. And then of course, there's a small minority that were haters. And one of the hater people that I want to address is this comment about Weed Machine. So Weed Machine is essentially a YouTuber that goes under the name The Salty Spittoon. He makes OSU documentary videos talking about some players that he finds interesting, and make documentaries about these type of people. So he would make videos about OSU 420 and also about Chicken 10 and also about other players. And he would essentially make these type of content, and I think that content is pretty decent. But when I read his thread right here, my view of him changed completely. And what he essentially says here is his videos are terrible because he doesn't know what he's talking about half the time. It's so embarrassing. So I'm assuming that this is in reference to the videos perhaps where I'm talking about advice, where I'm trying to give my own advice and learnings and trying to help other people that might be struggling with things. I'm assuming he's talking about that. And in the first place, I just want to say that I never claim to be an expert in these topics. All I'm really trying to do with these type of OSU advice videos, perhaps if I'm trying to talk about easy model or hidden, or just talk about anything in the game, I'm mainly giving the lessons that I learned from my own progression and from me playing the game. I never claimed to be the expert, the PhD Harvard professor about these topics and saying this is what you should do and this is what you should do. I'm just saying the things that honestly help me, and I also wanted to help other people by telling other people the advice that I feel like would help other people if they were in a similar situation as I was. So that's the main motive for me to make these type of OSU advice videos, where I'm just talking about, hey, this is what I learned, and I just want to talk about it. So if you guys are in a similar situation, perhaps this could help you. I'm assuming he's talking about that, where Weed Machine here is saying his videos are so terrible because he doesn't know what he's talking about. Perhaps I'm not 100% right all the time. It happens, okay? I'm not the OSU doctor, the OSU PhD, the Harvard professor of OSU. I'm not that guy. I'm just trying to give my lessons about it. I don't really know how accurate this observation is from Weed Machine here, but I just had a bad light of it after I saw him, because I thought like he was like, whatever. But his YouTube videos here, I think they're pretty decent. Like I was watching some of them and I was like, yeah, these videos are pretty good. I have nothing bad to say about his content. I think his content is quite good. Besides that rant right there about me addressing things, I'm also going to extend this video to 30 minutes long about some random shit in my life, because this video is also supposed to be some sort of spite message for this type of content, because these people out here trying to criticize me for making my videos so long about these topics. And some people like the yapping where I just talk about stories or I'm just talking about shit. Some people like that, but some people understand they don't want to watch that whole thing because maybe their attention span is too fucked. They can only watch maybe 30 seconds of a video at a time, and then they gotta go watch the next one so they can reset their dopamine. If you're in that type of situation, man, I completely understand it though, because sometimes I do it, but I for one like the long form type of videos, which is why I also make the long form type of videos instead of the short form ones, because it's just the type of videos that I like more, like podcasts. And I completely understand the people that like watching my videos and just put it on the background and just listen to the audio, because that is also what I do with other YouTube videos. I also make these YouTube videos so that you can also do that in the background. But besides that, I'm going to extend this video to 30 minutes just talking about some random shit just in spite for this one post right here. And maybe there's going to be some people that like that and also want to hear me talk more about some random shit or do some random stories about Osu. But I just want to talk about just recently when I started playing Osu. So I just came back from Japan. It was like a 20-day trip. I didn't play Osu or didn't even touch a computer for 22 days. I hopped on Osu and I thought I would be super fucking rusty, and I was, but I de-rusted in like 10 minutes and like started playing like normal, like kind of normal within like 5 minutes of playing, and I set some pretty cool plays. But that was pretty cool. I thought that de-rusting would take a really long time after not playing for like 20 days, but perhaps it's not like that. So for the people out here there who are thinking that if I take a 30-day break, your skill is gonna all disappear when you play Osu, no, that's not really the case. Maybe if you took a 3-month break, it would be more significant. I only took one for 1 month, but the skill change and the de-rusting effect wasn't that high. But besides that, some of you guys are also curious about my experience with Japan, and perhaps some of you guys are hearing this for the first time that I went to Japan. But I essentially went there with a friend just for a sort of vacation thing. We planned it like months ago, and we went to Japan and it was a lot of fun. He went home early because he got homesick, so it was just me for the last week or so, and I was kind of just fucking around. And what I mainly did is that I just went to the anime shit. I don't really give a fuck about the culture in Japan like that much, like going to the Kyoto, looking at the fucking Imperial Palace and shit, and the fucking bamboo monkey forest. Like, I don't really care about that shit. I just really care about the anime stuff because I love that. And I was going to mainly Akihabara, which is the anime city, and I was just going there a lot. I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot of fun when I was just looking through it because everywhere was anime. I like Japan a lot. I really like the people. I really like the culture. Like, the people are just so fucking nice, and the food is so tasty, and the girls are actually hot compared to the United States, because the United States, all the girls are fat as fuck, and the people in Japan, the girls, even in the guys, they're all skinny. No one's really fat. If you are fat in Japan, I don't even know how the fuck that happens, because you're gonna be getting at least 20,000 steps a day, and you will probably be eating quite modestly as well. So I don't even know how you get fat if you're in Japan. In America, I completely understand, because the system is designed for you to get fat in the first place in America. But for the people in Japan, I don't really understand how you get fat. Like, I saw like the rare fat person here and there in Japan, and I was like, how the fuck did this happen? But the majority of people are skinny and looking pretty good. So I was like, okay, that's pretty weird. But besides that, Japan was a great country. I really liked my experience there. And I also want to talk about a story that might be funny about it. But I was essentially going to Akihabara, just looking through every anime store ever. I was kind of mainly looking for Toho Fumus, because I wanted the Toho Fumos to decorate my living room. And I found some Fumos, thank God. I checked Fumos like every day. And there was this one store called Akiba Hobby. I think it's Akihabara Hobby. I don't know, but I went inside there. It was mainly a Toho store, and I checked there every fucking day. And then eventually, like on my 7th day of checking, there was Fumos, and I was like, holy shit, let's fucking go, dude. And it was a Fumo of Suika, and I was like, hey man, I don't really care. I'm not really super picky about these Fumos, so let me just get one of these. And we got it. It was like $30 or something. And I got one for a friend that I want to be visiting as well later on. But that's what I essentially did there, right? I looked at the Fumos and I was like, that's pretty fire. And I went through all the anime stores, and I eventually also saw more Fumos at a store called K-Books, I think. And K-Books had a section where they had rarer type of Fumos, like Fumos of all the characters. Like there was Koishi, for example, Satori, also a bunch of Fumos. Like there was like 20 different characters on there, but these Fumos are marked up like crazy. So instead of them being 5,500 yen at the market sale price, the retail price, these Fumos were like maybe 20,000 yen to 40,000 yen, which is a huge markup, 4x, 8x markup on these Fumos. Because obviously these ones are a lot more rare, and the Fumos are only produced 2 times a year. So these Fumos are rare as fuck, and if you want to get them at a premium and want to get them right now, you can go to that store and get those Fumos. It didn't really have any of the characters that I wanted, so I was like, okay, whatever the fuck. And I just got the Fumo from Suica instead. And I also saw more Fumos. I also saw Fumos at this store called Mandrake. So I went to this other anime store place. It was like an anime mall, but I fucking forgot. I think it was called Nakano Broadway. And I went inside that whole ass mall. It was like basically a huge ass mall, like an inside mall. And on the first floor was like a bunch of food stores and a bunch of designer. Like it was just some random stores that you usually see in a mall in the States, right? And then you go up the elevator or the escalator and you go to the 3rd floor and boom, you are in anime land. Every fucking store is this store called Mandrake, and there's going to be some small pop-up stores where it's just going to be indie people selling their own anime figurines and shit. And the main store there was a store called Mandrake, and they essentially sell discounted goods of nerd shit, basically. And I was just looking around, just having my fun there, just browsing around, right? And I found Fumos, and I was like, holy fuck, Fumos, let's fucking go. And I found them, and I think it was a Fumo of Chirano and Rumia. And Rumia is a bit more of a less popular character. Chirano, if you guys know Chirano, you guys probably know Chirano because that character is a bit more popular. You know it from the Chirano Fumo meme where they're going to be dancing, break dancing and shit. So I found that one there, but I wasn't really that interested in any of them. So I was like, okay, whatever the fuck. The prices were pretty cheap for those. I think the Rumia one was like 3,300 yen and the Chirano Fumo was like 6,000 yen, but I didn't really want to spend that money to get that Fumo because I didn't really want it. So I already fulfilled that need where I wanted a Fumo from Japan. So I got one already. So I just didn't really feel like getting another one. But essentially I got out of there, didn't really buy anything. And a few days later, I went to another anime shop. I think it was called Ami Ami, but I was in Ikebukuro, which is an anime city essentially, but this one is more for girls because it seems like gay porn, like yaoi is a big thing there. Like if you go to like stores like Animate or in Ikebukuro, for example, which is a bit more of a huge anime place, you're gonna see anime for girls. Like you're gonna see hot guys in anime style, like everywhere. And this is for the girls, right? And that kind of broke one of the misconceptions I had about Japan where I thought it was only the guys were the D-gens. But no, the girls are as fucking D-gen as the guys there. So I was like, okay, well, shit happens, right? And I was just looking around Ikebukuro, it was pretty fire. And my landlady, for example, was showing me around the place, showing me all the good places to eat in Ikebukuro, ate some good food, also checked out some of the malls and shit, right? And then I found a store called Ami Ami, which is essentially the main retailer behind creating Fumos in the first place. So there was an Ami and Ami in Akihabara as well, but I couldn't really find any Fumos. They had a Fumo for their mascot, which is like this orange-haired, green-eyed girl. Like it's like some anime shit, right? And I don't really know the character, don't really give a fuck, but they were selling Fumos for that character. Didn't really care though. But I went to this small-ass Ami Ami because it's a chain store, and I found it in Ikebukuro, and I went inside of it. Like I saw a sign outside this little building that said Ami Ami on the 2nd floor, like a mini Ami Ami. And I went up there and I was like, okay, whatever the fuck, well, let's check it out. And we went inside it, went up the clanky ass stairs and went to the 2nd floor, and it was this little ass room with a bunch of anime shit in it. And I was like, holy fuck. Okay, well, I'm just gonna go in. There were some people shopping around in there, and I was just looking around in the shelves like I was scanning items in Escape from Tarkov trying to find items for my tasks. And I found on this little ass shelf in the corner 2 fucking Fumos. And I was like, holy shit, there's Fumos, they're real. Because they're usually from Ami Ami, and you would usually see the Fumo spawn rate be highest at Ami Ami. So I was like, okay, I finally found Fumos here, it's pretty cool. And the Fumos are, the 2 characters there were Renka and Chirano. Again, it was Chirano. And these guys were at a pretty discounted price as well, like 6,000 yen. Usually you would see them for 20,000 yen, I think was for the same Chirano in K-Book. But again, I didn't really buy it because I just didn't really want to get another Fumo. But I was pretty happy about me finding the Fumos right there. It was pretty cool, right? But besides that, I had my fair share of degenning in Japan as well. We kind of just walked around the Akihabaras and just looking at all the anime stuff. I mainly bought a bunch of CDs of artists that I enjoy, like Bocchi the Rock, Kesoku, and also bought the 2 CDs. And I suppose those would be a rare commodity now because they're not going to be sold anymore, because after what happened to 2, where they're going to be disbanded. But we got all the CDs and albums for them, so I can listen to them if they ever get taken down from the internet. I have the physical copy, so that's pretty cool right there. And I also got a copy for my brother. But I essentially got a lot of music stuff from Japan. It was pretty cool. Also got some souvenirs for my friends and family. But that was the main amount of shopping that I did there. But I also want to share a story that happened in Japan when I was kind of going around though. So I don't even know if I should talk about this story because it's kind of embarrassing, but it's kind of funny. But okay, yeah, I had to think about it for a bit, but I'm just gonna say the story anyways. But I was going through the anime lands, right, in Japan, going through all the Akihabara anime stores. And what's unique about Japan is that their perception onto sex is a lot more lenient than in the Americas. So in America, if you go to the local districts and shit, right, you're going to go through the shopping malls, you're gonna see your clothing stores, you're gonna see your restaurants. It's gonna be pretty tame in PG-13. But what's unique about Japan is that they have the exact same stuff, right? Restaurants, malls, shopping stores. But then you're going to find this one outlet with a very sexy girl outside in anime style, and they're gonna be like, hey, come in here, you can buy some sex toys or sex books or some porn CDs, right? And that's essentially what's going on right there, right? So I kind of went into some of these because I was kind of curious for what these would entail. And I went inside, and it's essentially these large ass goon caves of porn CDs. They have porn being played onto the monitors in some random places in the store. They're selling every fucking sex toy you can think of in the world, and they're selling all of the craziest shit. And I was like, okay, well, this place is fucked. But I didn't really buy anything, just went outside. I just wanted to look inside, and I was like, okay, what the fuck? This is pretty cool, but like, wow, you cannot find this in America. But I essentially went to some of these stores, right? But this sort of sex craze in Japan is also not only applicable to the real life stuff, but also to the anime stuff, right? So I was going to one of the stores with Radio Kaikon in Akihabara, and I went to this place called Lashingbang, I think, Lashingbang. They basically sell discount anime goods as well. And I went to this one section. They had this clothing thing of 18 plus only. And I was like, went inside and I was like, okay, well, let's see what the fuck is in here. And essentially it was all of the degen anime shit you could think of in the world. So they had hentai doujins, which I'm assuming a lot of you guys know if you guys are an OSU player, but these are basically fan-made hentais of popular anime and popular works, right? So if you wanted to watch Sword Art Online, for example, and you wanted to see Asuna hentai or something, you can just look up the Asuna doujins on the internet and you can find it, and then you can just do whatever the fuck you want with it, right? You could do that. But in America, you can only really see those if you wanted to look on the internet, right? And you can't really access them as physical copies. I didn't even know that they were physical copies at first. I mean, I knew they had to come from somewhere, but I didn't think they had actual physical copies. But I went inside of the store in the 18 plus category, and they had these hentai doujins in there. And I was like, holy shit. And I just want to say that in my teenage years, I was not exactly the best person in the world. You know, I'm sure that a lot of people had their degen years, but in my teenage years, I was knowing a lot about these hentai doujins, to say the least, right? Because I had that huge anime phase. I'm not really about that lifestyle anymore because I just think it's a waste of time for me to indulge in that type of shit. Like, I was seeing that shit like hours at a time, right? And I had my experience with these hentai doujins back then. So I was like, okay, I recognize this one, okay, well, this is fucked. And I just want to reaffirm, I don't do that shit no more. But I was looking through them and I was like thinking, holy fuck. I kind of recognize some of these, and I was like thinking, okay, what if I bought one? And I bought one of this character. It was a Toho one of Sanae Kochiya, and I bought one of her. And I was like, okay, well, I like this one. This one looks pretty cool. And I just bought it. Okay. Why am I saying this? Okay, well, I bought that shit, right? And it was like $4, and it's essentially like a magazine booklet sort of deal, and you just look at it and you can open it, flip through it like it's a regular ass manga. And I bought it, went to the cashier, had no shame. I was like, hey, let me just buy one of these. And my main motive for me buying it was, I was thinking, okay, I kind of just want to buy one for the lulz, and I never really had this experience before, buying a physical hentai doujin in person like this. I used to be super degen about this, and I know that for sure that I would love to collect this shit, but nowadays I kind of just want to see and just buy it, you know, just to see what happens. And I bought it from the store, took it out, went home and unpacked it, took a look inside, and I was like, holy shit, this is the real deal. And that basically happened, right? And I only bought, I think I bought like 3, but I threw away like 2 of them because I was like, okay, I only just want to have one of them because I feel like a super fucking degen for owning all of these. So I only kept one of them from Japan to bring to me back to the States. The other 2 I threw away because I felt too ashamed to own them. I was like, okay, this is fucking cringe as hell. Why am I owning these physical hentai doujins, right? So I brought the one back home to the States and I kept it in my backpack. And when I finally came home, I put my backpack down. I still had the hentai doujin in there. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna just go take a shower, just leave my shit in there. I'll take care of my luggage later, right? And my mom was kind of curious on what the fuck I bought. And she was like digging through my luggage, and she found in my backpack the one hentai doujin that I bought, and she was like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh shit, like I was taking a shower and I could hear the exclamation. I was kind of like thinking while I was taking a shower, okay, I just realized I might have fucked up because my mom was looking through my shit, but I kept my stuff down there, and I probably should have like hid it in my room or something. But she was kind of exclaiming out loud, like, what the fuck, what is this? Crazy. And she was digging through it. And I came out the shower, dried off, clothed up, went downstairs, and I was like, oh shit, I fucked up. And she showed it to me, confronted me, was like, yo, what the fuck, man? And I was like, well, I was kind of laughing about it because I don't really know. I just thought it was really funny. But that's that whole situation, that whole scenario. I don't even know if I should have told that story, but I might cut it out later. I think it's too inappropriate, but I don't know. Maybe having that sort of humility with those stories. You know, one day I'm gonna die, and it's not that bad, right? Because everyone had their own degen phases here and there. It happens, but that's essentially what happened. That's kind of just the funny story I want to give. But now the video is about 30 minutes. I just want to extend to it, just talk about some random shit, just to have spite on that one motherfucker that's saying, this KAPNOYR's videos are so long, I don't want to watch all that shit. Why is he even talking 5 minutes about claustrophobia number 3 now? How do you even talk about it? Man, fuck you. I'm going to make these videos as long as I please. But, yeah. If you guys watch to this end here, I want you to comment trees, because the trees are beautiful right now. All right, I'll see y'all.